Former McKinsey Managing Director Rajat Gupta is speaking out nearly 7 years after he was convicted of insider trading. Gupta served 2 years in prison, ultimately paying more than $30 million in fines and fees. All taking place at the height of the SEC's crackdown on Wall Street. The charges against Gupta center around his conversations with hedge fund manager Raj Rajaratnam about board discussions at Goldman Sachs, you might recall. Rajaratnam, meanwhile, is currently serving an 11-year jail sentence for insider trading. Now, Gupta is sharing his side of the story in his new book, Mind Without Fear. Recently in New York, Andrew Ross Sorkin asked Gupta about his relationship with Rajaratnam.
Here's a guy who, against all odds, had become revered in the industry as one of the smartest guys. And in fact, I checked with Hank Paulson, who is a dear friend of mine, and Gary Cohn, as to what they thought of him. They thought he was fantastic. At that point in time, he was quite the trader. And so I got to know him over time, and then we made this investment together. And then he was part of, when we were forming this Voyager fund that was in the beginning, and then when we were forming NSR. And he was a very smart guy. I respected him for that. He was very dedicated to his job. But he was very different from me. I mean, we were not friends.
Was there a moment at which, though, you decided you can't trust Raj Rajaratnam?
The first moment was when I discovered that he had taken all his equity out without giving me my share. It just was a betrayal. I felt that, here's a guy who is extremely wealthy. I trusted him. I didn't even have a signature. I mean, I just gave him the money. I mean, I always trusted people, and I didn't think he would betray me like that.
You talk a lot about your relationship with McKinsey in the book, given that so much of your career life was about McKinsey. And it seems to me that you have always felt that McKinsey is like family to you.
Yes.
And so it read to me as if there were these moments where you felt that they had betrayed you, and even moments where you felt like maybe you had betrayed them.
I owe an enormous amount to McKinsey. I felt that when all this happened, they should, of course, distance themselves from me. I was retired by then. It was, it wasn't like I was in the firm. And all these charges had nothing to do with McKinsey, had nothing to do with any McKinsey clients or nothing at all. And I had 37 years of serving clients before them, and there was never any issue of any kind ever. So I thought it was a little bit, the actions they took were a little draconian from my perspective.
You were on the board of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
The advisory board.
As the advisory board. What's your relationship like today with Bill and Melinda Gates?
Well, I have to say that Bill was one of the most supportive people when all this happened. First thing was that he just refused to accept my resignation from the advisory board when I resigned from everything. He said, no, you're innocent till you're proven guilty, I'm not accepting it. A month later he went to India, and the only questions the reporters would ask him is, why is Rajat Gupta still on your advisory board? And when I heard that, I wrote a note to Bill saying, this is distracting from the work of the foundation. Let me resign. For my sentencing, before I even asked him, he said, I got word from him saying he'd like to write a letter on my behalf, which he did. I hope the relationship is excellent.